Welcome back, Maverick fans. You're watching the Mavs Media Network, and we are here with another episode of the Checkdown with Coach Mitchell. I'm your host. My name is Brian Hardy, and we are glad that you have chosen to watch us again, whether it is by choice or whether it's by accident. We feel like we've got a great show for you here today. I want to welcome, as always, our athletic director, Coach Greg Perry. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me again.
Director of Bands, Mr. Justin Harvison, appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Mavericks traveled over to Collinsville last Friday night to play the West Lauderdale Knights. The Mavericks ran away with that one by a score of 47-13. Coach Mitchell will be in shortly to recap that ball game for us, as well as preview the game against the Pearl Pirates this weekend. Friday night, Mavericks will be back on the road, traveling to Rankin County to play them. You'll also hear from senior linebacker Banks Polk today as he discusses a little bit of football and then also talks some about the Pearl Pirates, again, the team that we'll be going over to play on Friday night. Mr. Harvison, if you don't mind, we'd like to talk to you a little bit about our band program here at Germantown High School.
Okay.
Germantown opened in the fall of 2011, and you were tasked with the blessing and curse, I guess, of starting a band program from the scratch.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about what that's been like.
Well, it's been something. It was a one of the most unique challenges I think could have ever expected to do in this career as a band director. I started as an assistant at Madison Central, and I was sort of the lead director at Rosa Scott when Mr. Poore was there, and when he came to open here, I was sort of in the right place at the right time. But I feel like I was the right age to do it because I was so young and I just had so much energy that I could literally do it just day and night without stopping. I don't know that I could do the same thing now. It was so much, and I look back on the stuff that we had to do to get everything off the ground, and it was just incredible. We also, when we started the high school band, we had about 75 kids in the first year, and now we're 175. So it was me and 2 assistants, and now it's me and 6 assistants with an adjunct as well. So it was, we've definitely grown since then, and there's no better place to do it than here and in this school district because anything we need, they're right there to help us out with it. So
You mentioned a little bit about the numbers that are in the program, and I want everyone to understand that Mr. Harvison is, when I say director of bands, that goes for Germantown High School and our middle school, which has approximately 500 students.
Program-wide, about 500 students.
Involved with that, which is a big responsibility, and I know you have a lot of good help.
I do.
You want to talk a little bit about some of your guys and gals that help?
Yeah, I'm the director of bands, but by no means am I the person doing it all. We've got incredible assistant directors that have a lot of autonomy on their own to make it happen, and they take ownership in their level of things that they do, and that's what makes the whole thing good. And that doesn't happen without that level of commitment and ownership at that level as well, because one person cannot be in charge of 500 people. Right. Like, there's just no way, and it'd be done effectively. So I definitely lean on them a lot. I trust them, and they do a fantastic job. So yeah, I'm really thankful for how that's all set up. Again, that wouldn't be possible without the school district and how they structure band programs, not just at Germantown, but all over the place. We're able to do homogenous classes at the beginner level, which means they're all by instrument when they start off. So if a kid plays trumpet, he's not sitting in a class full of all these other instruments. Like, he's just doing trumpet the entire time. So it's really smart programming with how the curriculum is set up and how they let us do that. So that's been part of the success, being able to do it that way. So.
Well, just like sports within our athletic department, there's seasons, and
Right.
Band is no exception to that. Take us through a typical band season. I know you guys, as with our football team, you guys start prior to school starting in the
Right.
summer. But walk us kind of through when that journey begins in July and where it ends up in May.
So I guess if we had an off season, it would be probably about the end of April. That's when we'd start auditions. So we start auditions late April, and we audition for the band program. They audition not only if they can be a part of it, but if what they do and like where they are on the chair order or the depth chart, if you want to think about it that way. So they start there, and then we start from there. We go into June preseason camps, and we work primarily on marching stuff, getting that ready. We go all the way, and then we hit our big camp in July, which is nose to tail about 3 weeks. We do that, and then we get into the normal, when school starts, the normal after school programs that we have. Then we start competing late September, early October, and then we go all the way into our state championships, which this year is the first weekend in November. Once that ends, we immediately start with concert ensembles, which is inside. And we break into 3 main ensembles. We have an advanced group, an intermediate group, and a remedial group. And all of those work on just the playing aspects of things.
Right.
Simultaneously, there are indoor groups going on for winter guard and winter percussion, which are basically like marching shows except inside. Something that started like in the late 80s, early 90s, and now it's just really blown up into this whole thing. And Germantown now has 2 winter guards and 1 indoor percussion group that are all going to be competing in Dayton, Ohio this year for the World Championship. So that's kind of a whole other thing, but marching season is definitely busy during football season.
Right.
But when that ends, because we have so many things happening simultaneously, we have the concert ensembles, which for us at Germantown will always be the cornerstone of the program. What we do in those concert ensembles is the most important thing. But we have that going on, and then we have winter guards and we have indoor percussion. It's really busier, honestly. If you're just talking about an hour by hour, weekend by weekend thing, it's busier after football season for us. I mean, it's something every single weekend. Somebody is somewhere competing that weekend somewhere at some school. So it gets really busy after that. So hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. That clears everything up on as far as just from start to finish.
Yeah.
Just like just like any other season. I mean, you gotta start out with a group, take them all the way through,
Yeah.
and kind of see where you are at the end.
Yeah.
We get to see that halftime show each home game on Friday nights, but we know that obviously starts a long time before the Friday night that we're watching it. Tell us how that show's determined each year, who all goes into that, and how you guys come up with the theme each year for your show.
So we, it's really a conglomerate of people, really. I mean, there's kind of everybody. It's a real organic process. It's not, and I almost wish it was a little more streamlined than what it is, but anything dealing with the creative process, we try not to force anything. We usually start listening to music really about around this time. In fact, Miss Taylor and I, we're throwing some music ideas around a couple days ago for next year. But we usually start with the music. We say, well, we really like this. We really like these pieces or this song or whatever. And we have a design team that are all throughout the country. The guy that writes our music is in Canada, actually, in Calgary. And then the lady who designs all the set pieces and the guard flags and the costuming, she lives in California. The guy that writes the drill, the movement out there, he lives in Indiana.
Wow.
And then Ethan Marcus, who is our guard instructor here, he's in charge of all the movement. I mean, he lives here. But we moved him here recently from Birmingham. He's originally from Birmingham. So between those folks and like the people on staff, it's just real, like just sort of tennis thing. We lob something over, they lob it back. We say, we like it, or we don't really like it. We don't think this will work. And we try to have an idea pitched to the design team by Christmas.
Okay.
Like that's sort of our thing. Like here's what we want to do, and then we all we have a little process, and we kind of vote on it, and we say here we go, and then he starts writing the music. He sends charts. We look at it. We send it. Sort of just gets the ball rolling, and but it all starts with the music. and then we sort of try to find an idea. And this is important because this has always been important to me at Germantown, especially when we started. I always want something that the audience can connect with also. I go to a lot of band competitions and I watch stuff and I go, how was the community getting behind that? You know, like, and I mean, it's got to have something, it's definitely got to have something for the connoisseurs,
right?
You know, for the people that are going to be judging this at a high level, especially on the national level. But it's got to have something for the people in the stands on Friday night. Like, that's important to me.
Yeah.
It's not important to everybody, but it's important to us as a staff, because when that happens, the community gets behind the students and they feel a part of it. And it just helps the whole thing be good. And we've had years that some of the stuff we put out there didn't really translate, didn't really communicate, and we learned from it, tried to adjust. And so yeah, I think that's kind of the process. We just, sometimes I wish it was more like structured, like here's what happens next, but it's real organic, just talking through, kind of like this.
Yeah.
Like we just talk through things and see what sticks to the wall and go from there.
Well, it's obviously a great product that our community gets to enjoy coming to see, and like you said, finding something that connects with that audience. But it goes beyond that, because that's the show that you guys will take to competition.
That's
correct.
correct.
We've got some competitions that are coming up across the state. The first box that you have to check off is to try to be prepared to win that state championship. You've won 3 so far, 2013, 2017, and 2022. Once you get past that state level, it goes to the national competition, and that's a whole nother element, and I've always respected the stance that you've taken at that level, that national competition, that 1% of high schools that are in that range or that have that chance to win that don't always take their complete band with them.
That's right.
That's a choice that you've never wavered with. You always include all of the band members. For you, I've heard you say this, it's really about the journey each year with these guys and these girls, and getting them prepared in July and seeing where it ends up in May, when it ends up at the national competition. And I just want to say, I respect you for doing that, because I'm sure there are times that you're competitive just like anyone else, and maybe trimming the numbers down and getting the best one, so to speak, onto the field might help your chances of winning that overall.
For sure.
Which is what a lot of the schools are doing, honestly. But I want you to know that we respect that, and I know the parents and the people in the community respect the fact that you're going to finish with the group you started with.
Yeah. Well, it's so much more rewarding that way too. I mean, to see some kid that couldn't really do a whole lot when you started off, and then you see them out there and they're in the dome, in St. Louis or Indianapolis or one of these places, and you look at them on the jumbotron, like, man, I remember when that kid couldn't find his left foot.
Yeah.
And now they're out there doing that. That's the cool stuff for me. And like, obviously, my staff and I, we like to win.
Sure.
Who doesn't? I mean, but I think that's also part of winning, is getting to see that. That's a win.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't always come with a trophy, but that's a win, getting to see those things, and you can't do it unless that's sort of your outlook.
Well, and last year, let's face it, you guys finished in the top 10 at the national competition, and I know you guys are excited about getting. You said that competition will be where this year?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay, so getting back to St. Louis and seeing how well you can do with this group of people.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Enjoyed it. And Coach Perry, we're going to turn it over to you. I know, first of all, you're coming fresh off of a birthday, so happy birthday last week.
We're not going to talk about how old I am.
Well, update us a little bit. Lots happened over the past week.
It has been a busy week. First of all, let me say how much we appreciate Mr. Harbison and our band for everything they do for our athletic department. A Friday night with our band there wouldn't be a normal Friday night. So we appreciate that, and we just appreciate y'all.
Likewise.
Yeah, our we had a really busy week in athletics. Our high school volleyball team secured the district championship this week with a 3-set win over Starkville. They've been playing really well. We expect them to do big things in the future. Likewise, our middle school volleyball team won the Little Six Championship Saturday. And an amazing number. I think they were 32-0 this year, and which means they did not drop a set the entire year. So they were 64-0 in sets,
Amazing.
which is, I don't know, it may not have ever been done. I don't know. Boys golf won the Warren Central Invitational through a team score of 285. Had some really good scores shot that day. Collins Harrington with a 68, Grayson Davis with a 71. Landry Williams with a 71, Stuart King with a 75, and Luke Jordan with a 75. Kind of reminds me of your golf scores.
Well, you add them up, it'd probably be close.
Girls golf finished fourth at the Brandon Invitational. Kaylee Gatlin shot a 78, finished in second place, 2 strokes out. So great finish there. Our something new this year, Coach Grisham and our outdoor archery team went and shot yesterday actually in a North State qualifier. We had 2 archers win the novelty shoot, Connor Ross and Audrey Moore. And so our entire team qualified for the state tournament, which will be coming up in November.
Great.
So exciting times there. Cross country went to Saltillo over the weekend, long trip, but that's one they really enjoy. Boys finished 5th out of 16. Girls finished 11th out of 16. Our middle school cross country team's been running really well this year. Boys finished in 4th place, girls finished in 5th. Perry Hurst won his 3rd race of the year, which is great things to come, hopefully from him and our cross country team. So again, extremely busy week. Got an extremely busy week coming up. Got some football games next week that are important. I think Rosa Scott and Madison Middle's coming to town. We're playing them in 8th and 9th grade football. So. Big things, exciting times, and hopefully we can continue those winning ways.
Well, look, guys, I appreciate both of you stopping in and updating us on some fall sports, updating us with our band program. And don't go anywhere. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to get to hear from some students in our sports marketing class. You're going to get to hear from a senior linebacker, Banks Polk, from our football team. And we'll sit down with Coach Mitchell and recap the football game Friday night, this past Friday night with West Lauderdale. And we will also preview the game against the Pearl Pirates this coming Friday. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Starting now in Mac Hike in Madison Gluckstadt. No haggle pricing on all used cars in stock. That gives you transparent pricing, absolutely no addendums or extra charges, and certainly no games. No more uncomfortable negotiations. Enjoy not only your vehicle, but the car buying experience. Only in Madison Gluckstadt with no haggle, one price shopping. Shop us online at MacHikeMadison.com. You want a deal? Come get a haggle-free one today at Mac Hike in Madison Gluckstadt.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Checkdown with Coach Mitchell. Today we are joined by Banks Polk, senior linebacker, and also Coach Mitchell, our head football coach. Coach Mitchell, you mind taking a few moments to introduce Banks and talk a little bit about what he does for us?
Yeah, sure. Banks is a senior leader for us on our defense. He's the one that he plays middle linebacker, gets everybody lined up. He's been very productive for us over the last 2 years. This year he's got 21 tackles through 4 games, grades out high every week. He's a real dependable player and a leader for our football team.
Sure.
Banks, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have been a Maverick since day one.
Since day one. I came here in kindergarten at Mansdale Lower School, went to the upper school for my 4th and 5th grade year, went to the middle school after that, and now I'm here as a senior.
Growing up, at what age or what period of time throughout elementary school did you start getting involved with football, and did you come to the games growing up, and when did you know you wanted to play out here on Maverick Field?
I was out here way back in the day. We used to have inflatables down by the school way back, like bouncy castles and all that stuff, and I'd always come here for the food and the environment and see all the players walk out. And when you're a little kid like that, you want to be just like those kids that are walking out. And so I'd say from that point I wanted to play football, and then I did the whole flag football thing growing up when I was probably around 6 to 11 years old. And then as middle school came here, I got into the tackle football starting in 7th grade at the middle school, and now I'm here playing varsity for the Mavericks.
Well, there's a rumor going around that you hadn't always played linebacker. Coach Mitchell, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it just, it's just an example of me of how sometimes parents and coaches and players think they've got their future figured out, but Banks was a right tackle in ninth grade. And so he was down there on the offensive line, and going into his 10th grade year, we decided that he might better serve the team at linebacker. So that's where he's been since then, and he's grown into a really good player for us, like I said. Super dependable. Can't remember a time he's ever missed a practice or anything like that. He works his tail off in the off season, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him as a college player.
Banks, if you don't mind, talk to us or tell us a little bit about what it's like to play linebacker in this league in 7A. It is a grind, and it is a position that takes a big beating throughout the season. So tell us what it's like.
Well, playing linebacker, every play you're expected to go downhill and just hit the ever-living mess out of somebody. And sometimes that just be the offensive line, which is funny because I used to play it. But here in 7A now, ever since we got moved up, it's just the size really is the biggest difference. Is the running backs are bigger, the linemen are bigger, even the quarterbacks are bigger. And so it's just a new challenge every week because no quarterback or running back is always the same. So you have to adapt and just play with unbelievable effort and just do the best that you can do every week.
Coach, you mind talking a little bit? I know you've got some numbers there in front of you. What does Banks, how does he grade out, and where does he stand at this point?
Well, the main thing that sticks out to me is just, like I said earlier, how dependable he is. He's played 195 snaps through 4 games. So he's a guy that shows up and brings his lunch pail every day in his hard hat, and he's a physical player. I think he punches above his weight a little bit. He's not the heaviest of inside linebackers, but I think he plays like he is. So, and he's tough as light or not, and tackles with great accuracy. He's made 21 tackles this year. Like I said earlier, graded out 83%, which is really, really high in the way we grade our film. So we just appreciate his consistency and his dependability and the effort that he shows every Friday night. He's one of the reasons that we're going to get this thing over the top because of the leadership that he's provided to the younger guys and sort of set that standard as to what we expect a ball player to be day in and day out.
Banks, you've had a couple days now to kind of get ready for Pearl coming up. Be another challenge on the road for us this week. What do you think defensively are some things that we're going to have to do in order to take care of business on Friday night?
Well, the main thing that sticks out to me is we need to play with better effort than we have shown the past couple weeks, which we're capable of doing. We just have to do it. And then we have to rally and tackle and hang on as soon as we get there. We have to limit really the yards after the catch and yards after contact if we want to really win this game like we know we can.
Well, Banks, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Coach Mitchell, we'll be back with you shortly and talk a recap of the West Lauderdale game from last Friday night. We'll also preview our game on the road against Pearl this coming Friday night.
At Community Bank, we don't just work for you. We live where you live. Play where you play.
Hey guys.
Oh, hey, Catherine.
Hey, I wanted to tell you in person. We're all set and ready to close.
Yes, we got the house.
Oh my God.
And we believe every milestone,
Thank you so much.
every victory should be celebrated. Community Bank, committed to our community.
Hey everyone, I'm Brooks Hardy with Mavs Media Network. I'm with Coach Mitchell here today with a new episode of Chalk Talk. Coach, you mind showing us a new play for this week?
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me, Brooks. We're going to show a couple of plays from last Friday night's win against West Lauderdale. And when our offense is rolling and we're doing our thing, we try to take advantage of space on the outside. So this is just a now screen out here to Keyshawn Coleman. It's the fifth time we had run this play in the game. So not the first time the defense had seen it. And one of the things we look for is how fast the defense closes the space out there on that quick screen. You can see a good accurate ball from King White right here, which helps the receiver phase into running after the catch. And he puts it on the money and allows Keyshawn to get 8 yards, which is a nice gain for us. Like I said, we're watching to see how fast the defense closes down that space. This is the same play where you can see Keyshawn running hard for 8 yards. And then, so what we come back with later, off of that play, is Keyshawn running the now screen, trying to convince the defense that we're running that play again. And King does a good job of pumping the ball to him now. And we take the guy who was blocking for him right here in the slot, our slot receiver right here, who has been coming out and blocking, will now fake a block and go down the field. All right, so we think we've got him baited up on that play. And this is our next play in that sequence off of that quick screen to that wide receiver, is to fake the quick screen and send the blocker deep. Lawson Branson does a really good job of selling his block. If you'll see when he comes off there, it looks just like the play before where he was blocking. So he comes off, makes it look like he's blocking, and then he goes right down the field. We're able to get him open, get him by that corner and outside of that safety for a long touchdown. So if we watch it from the back angle, you'll see the offensive line doing a really nice job giving King time to throw. You'll see a good pump fake by King White, our quarterback, to sell that screen to that wide receiver. So a really good pump fake, and then he throws him a really good ball, and Lawson makes the rest of it happen. So a good explosive play for our offense, and when we're rolling, we have success with one play, it sets up something else. That's sort of how the entire offense is built, and the way all offenses are built. You know, going back to wing T football, the trap sets up the buck sweep. Well, right here, the perimeter screen sets up the pump off the perimeter screen. So just a really good play by our guys, good execution. At the end of the day, that's what matters is how the players execute, and they did a really nice job on that play. Now you do a lot of the swim videos and the Meet the Mavs videos. Don't you want to talk about how our sports marketing class put that together?
Yeah, so basically we every week we'll set out a new video introducing a new team from Germantown, and we get just 2 people from our team to record those videos, and then we'll edit them and then send them out.
All right, good deal, man. We all doing a great job, and we appreciate everything sports marketing is doing to promote our student athletes and our school.
Thank you for this, and good luck against Pearl.
Thank you, Brooks.
Thank y'all for watching.
Selling land in Mississippi requires expertise that is tailored to our unique market. At Pursuit Properties, we specialize in land transactions. We offer valuable insight into pricing, regulations, and helping you identify those potential buyers. We help sellers set realistic goals and expectations, ensuring a smooth and successful sale process. With a focus on accountability and clear communication, Pursuit Properties guides our clients through every step, keeping you informed and empowered. You can trust our team at Pursuit Properties to work hard for you and maximize the value of your property. We are always in pursuit.
Welcome back, everyone. Germantown Maverick Coaches Show. Our time to sit down with head coach Russ Mitchell. Is Germantown now 3-1 on the year after the big 47-13 win at West Lauderdale. And coach, really a complete performance by your team. A lot of good things happened in the ball game. I know one thing you want to clean up is maybe the red zone turnovers, but great performance individually. King White had a career night for you at quarterback.
He did. I thought it was a breakthrough game for King. He passed for right at 400 yards. 80% completions. Of course, he had plenty of help keeping him upright and catching those passes for him. So it was just a really explosive night for us offensively. We had almost 600 yards, and it was a good night to be a Maverick.
A lot of guys got in the end zone for you. Lawson Branson, let's see, my goodness, Nye Johnson had a couple of scores. King White obviously tossed a few of them, ran for one. Several guys got in the end zone for you.
Yeah, they did. We were able to spread the ball around and get in a lot of guys' hands, and super productive night offensively. I thought we played hard on defense and special teams too, and that was the main thing that I was pleased with, was just our intensity throughout the game for 4 whole quarters. I thought we played 48 minutes of inspired football, and that's what I wanted to see coming out of the loss to Warren Central, was just a group of guys that were determined and wanted to win and willing to lay it on the line. Joseph Walker stepped up for us at tight end and played well in Will Harris's absence.
He scored a touchdown.
He did. Down in the red zone, we managed to get him open on a play action pass, and that was a big play in the game. Weston Wirtz led our defense in tackles. He had 10 tackles. Mike Johnson had 7 tackles. Aaron Farrell had 6. So we had a lot of guys flying to the ball defensively. A lot of hard hitting. I think we had 14 or 15 stuffs, where that's what we call a carry for less than 2 yards. I thought our kickoff coverage unit played really, really good. They had a kind of a fluky play where they snapped it over the quarterback's head, and we gave up the outside, and the guy ran in, and it was on Weston's side, and he came to the sideline, and he was all fired up, and he ran down on the next kickoff and took out about 3 guys. So that was a fun one to watch on the film. But I thought that whole kickoff coverage unit played really well. They hustled downfield and laid some licks. Simon Naylor was perfect on PATs again. And if there's one thing we want to do better moving forward this week, it's just taking care of the football. Like you talked about earlier, those 3 red zone turnovers hurt. We probably score 65 or 70 points in the game if we can punch those 3 in. But coaches always have something to fuss about. I thought the good certainly outweighed the bad Friday night, but we're looking to get better this week and strap it up against Pearl.
Yeah, West Lauderdale, everybody's like, that's a 4A team. That's one of the best 4A teams you'll see in the state. A team that lost 2 games a year ago, one of those losses being to us. But not fun when you got to tackle a quarterback who's 6'4", 215 all night. And that's a very physical football team for a 4A school. A lot of gap running, power running, and I thought we did a good job of that defensively.
Yeah, they were physical, and you can tell they take pride in playing good football. Even when the score sort of got out of hand, there wasn't any dip in their effort. So you can tell they're well coached. You can tell they take a lot of pride in what they're doing, and that's the reason why we scheduled them. So hopefully that physicality made us better and will prepare us for this week.
We'll take a time out. When we come back, we will talk about tonight's opponents, the Pearl Pirates. Pearl Pirates 2-2, Mavericks 3-1 coming in. We'll take a time out. Be back in just a moment right here on the Maverick Media Network.
At Davini Equipment, community matters. We're the hometown name you can trust, serving the community for over 50 years. As one of the oldest Kubota dealers in the U.S., we've been selling tough, durable equipment for residential and commercial buyers. Davini and Kubota are synonymous for quality and dependability. We're locally owned and operated, so when you come to Davini, we'll treat you like family. Come see us at Davini Equipment, with 2 locations in Madison and Jackson.
Welcome back, everyone. Davini Tractor, home of the oldest Kubota dealership in the whole country. The United States is the oldest dealership, and Jonathan McMillan and the guys, they do it right here. So right here on Highway 51 in Madison, Gluckstadt, you can find all the guys, all your Kubota needs. Right behind us, Coach Mitchell, Jared Schatz, talking about the Pearl Pirates. Coach, Pearl Pirates 2-2. You know what you're going to get when you go over to Pearl, and that's a loud environment, very tough place to play in. Their star quarterback, Jack Durr, who we saw a lot of at the ranch last year, he hurt himself preseason. A lot of expectations on him. He goes down. They have a new coach, and Coach Schooler, who came over from Neshoba Central. They've kind of been doing the quarterback shuffle, but still 7 guys return on defense and a very physical football team.
They are. You can turn on the film and see real quick that Coach Schooler believes in running the football and playing a physical brand of football. So our guys are going to have to be up for that physical challenge of hitting back. They're going to block down and kick out. With them in the situation they're in with their quarterbacks, it's going to be an old-fashioned slobber knocker.
Defensively, 7 guys back on defense and 2-2 record, but really the defense is what's kept them in these ball games and their 2 wins especially. But even in their losses, the score has not really gotten out of hand. They did lose 21-0 to Warren Central, but that game didn't really slip away until late in that ball game because the defense has been so good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then a 10-7 game against Brookhaven and 22-12 against Ridgeland. So they've held their opponents to under 20 points for the most part. And for them, it starts with a big D lineman. They've got a big Hewitt's his name. He's a big 330-pound defensive end. He's a physical presence inside. They've got really good linebackers. Their outside linebackers are long and rangy. Arterberry and Jenkins, number 12 and number 1. And then inside, they've got a linebacker, number 10, named Wortham. And those guys set the tone for their defense. We watched all 4 games, and you just don't see many explosive plays on them. So they make you earn it. And then flip side on the offense, they're snapping it at number 21 now. He's a running back. He throws it a couple times a game to keep you honest. And we know how good the receiver is outside. Number 2, McNair. He hurt us last year pretty bad. And then in the game against Brookhaven, they had a big return from number 0 in the kicking game that set up their touchdown. So they're still explosive. They still, very athletic, and they're gonna come out in the game expecting to win. I know that much about Pearl playing at home. They're not going to come out there and lay down. So it's going to be a challenge for our guys, and we're just looking forward to getting over there Friday night and teeing it up.
You're going to have some guys step up. Keyshawn Coleman was his unfortunate injury into that ball game last week, but Austin Branson, some guys are going to get their numbers called on to really fill that void, if you will, for Keyshawn Coleman.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's one luxury we have is we've got a multitude of playmakers. I think we've proven that. And losing a guy like Keyshawn hurts. Hopefully, we'll get him back soon. But we feel like we've got guys that can make plays, and we've got an offensive line that can control the football game. And if we can do that, and we can stand up to the physical test we're going to get on defense and win the kicking game, then we'll come out on top. But we got to take it one play at a time. We got to focus on winning our one-on-one matchups and taking better care of the football. If we can do that, it's going to be a good night to be a Maverick.
Let's talk about your 8th and 9th grade teams. They're doing very well, and you can see this program as a whole, not just in varsity, but JV and then down to middle school. Those guys doing some good things down on the lower levels right now.
They are. We're proud of the program we've been able to establish here, proud of the assistant coaches that coach our 8th and 9th grade teams. Our 9th grade team won Tuesday night and placed themselves back in the Little Six championship game after winning it as 8th graders last year. So that group will be hosting at home on October 8th, a championship game, and so we're super excited about that. Like I said, those coaches have done a wonderful job of getting those kids prepared. Our 8th grade is also 3-1. 4-1. Both those teams are 4-1. The loss we had in 8th grade happened to be on the western side, which kind of puts us in the number 2 spot. So we're going to be big Vicksburg Gator fans in the junior high ranks next week. If they can get a big win against Warren Central, that group may have a chance to play for a championship too. But again, it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work over the summer. Those 7th, 8th, and 9th graders showed up all summer and worked their tails off, and we're reaping the rewards of their preparation and the way that they've practiced and prepared up to this point. So kudos to those coaches and players for doing a great job and representing Germantown well.
Yeah, you've seen those guys trickle up through the program as they've hit the varsity ranks, and as a program overall, it's looking good for the future. Coach, thanks for joining us, and best of luck versus the Pearl Pirates.
Thanks, Jerry.
Pearl Pirates, Germantown Mavericks about to get it on this Friday night. Starting lineups and kickoff coming your way right here on the Maverick Media Network.
Told you to hop for no reason.
It's not going to work again, though. It'll work. The same problem.
It'll work. Watch your head.
He's going to hit his head.
Watch your head.
We're going to go ahead and close things out on today's episode of the Checkdown with Coach Mitchell. I'd like to thank General Manager John McMillan again for allowing us to be here at Davini, America's oldest Kubota dealership. Coach Perry, before we get out of here, grab your schedule over there on your phone. Let us know what's coming up this weekend and early part of next week in Germantown Athletics.
Yeah, excited about the rest of the week. We got what they call a tri-match coming up Thursday with Oxford and Brandon in volleyball. Be exciting to come out to watch. Obviously, we got football Friday night at Pearl, looking for a big crowd over there. Cross-country team will travel to Clinton High School this weekend for a big cross-country match. And then on the 30th, we got boys golf and girls golf playing in the Northwest Rankin Invitational. So a lot of events, always a lot of events this time of the year. We're off to a great start, a lot of success, and looking forward to building on that.
Well, I hope you guys can make it over to Rankin County tomorrow night as the Mavericks will face the Pearl Pirates. If you can't make it there, tune in to GermantownAthletics.com. That's our hub for everything Germantown Athletics, and listen to the call by the voice of the Mavericks, Mr. Jared Schatz, along with his team, Matt Guillory and Trent Nelson. For Coach Greg Perry, my name is Brian Hardy. And remember, nothing brings us together quite like Maverick Athletics.